faces I haven't seen for a while since I retired. Part of my program today will kind of cover a little bit of what Mr. Merkel covered, but not much. And I'm unfortunately going to tell you that as I talk about financial exploitation, my family is going through an investigation right now with my stepmother. So this kind of touches home with what I'm experiencing over the last 3 weeks. Okay, according to APA, American Psychological Association, there are about 4 million cases a year of dependent adult abuse involving financial exploitation. And unfortunately, only 1 in 23 are ever reported to any sort of an investigative agency. Here locally, over the years, I've investigated about 24. And as you do these, all of a sudden bank employees say, you know, this is similar to, and they start telling you of other cases they've seen that were similar but were never reported. Physical abuse, it's reported more often. For me personally, it's easier to investigate as a law enforcement officer. What is financial exploitation? It is very easily financially drawing down or mismanagement of a dependent adult's money accounts. Or in one case, they demanded money from the victim. It was a family member, wanted money to pay their indebtedness. Scams, life insurance, telemarketing, wire fraud, family arrest. I got a call about 4 weeks ago. IRS is coming to your house right now. They're going to arrest you. You need to wire us $10,000. Okay, I just got my tax refund, thank you anyway, and hung up. Common signs to look for. Victim has limited or no ability to maintain account or finances without assistance. If you're in the home, you can detect that sometimes faster than the family can, that the victim is slipping mentally and is no longer able to take care of themselves. With my father, it occurred very rapidly until his death. With my stepmother, it started occurring about 2 months ago, and it was little things. And then eventually we were seeing big things, like she'd take the check register when it came in the mail, and she'd have it marked up in numbers that weren't even checks that had been used. Would be figures that we couldn't figure out what they were for. So I'd have to call a bank and say, hey, can you send us another check register report? Because I can't read the one that Mom has. The victim has to have day-to-day assistance in doing their daily activities. Now, my stepmom was at the point where she needed that day-to-day activity help. We had it arranged, and unfortunately, my step-siblings stepped in, moved her to Louisiana, and started wiping out her financial accounts on us. Unexplainable and rapid changes in residence or changes of caretaker status for the victim, especially if it's from an outside agency to a family member going to do the day-to-day care. The last case I worked, the family member that was withdrawing all the money from her mother's account moved her mother 4 times in 7 months. And I'm trying to do the investigation, and I'm trying to keep up with change of addresses at the post office, some of which were bogus to throw me off the trail. Credit and debit card. Now, my stepmother does not know how to use a debit card or a credit card. The last 4 victims that I've had to do investigations with did not know how to use a debit card or a credit card. And that's what I started looking for, were the transactions that did not make sense in the day-to-day use of that debit card. One of the things I look for, uniform, same time of the month transactions. In one case, on the 15th of each month, $203 was withdrawn from her mom's account. We finally tracked it down, but she was making her car payment with it. And we didn't even know she bought a new vehicle. We had to literally look for the vehicle outside of the state of Iowa. Also look for cash withdrawals either by check or by ATM with no explainable reason for what that money was being used for. Or debit card payments, but over the amount of what the bill is. Unexplained gifts. How about sending all the family members to Walt Disney World? Grandma couldn't go, but she paid for everyone else's tickets to go. Missing checks that are out of sequence from the checkbooks, or whole checkbooks missing out of the box. You would think they, as a cop looking in, how obvious is that? A whole pad of checks missing from your box of books. That's an obvious giveaway. And when you interview these people, oh, I threw it away. What for? Well, we didn't need it. Then how come you cash checks out of that sequence of pads? Unexplained transfers from savings accounts or money market accounts or IRA accounts. And this is almost always common. They get greedy. And at first it's a little bit of money, but towards the end, before we finally do the arrest, it's a lot of money. And they're taking that money out in thousands of dollars at a time. And the smart ones will put it into another account. So here we are in law enforcement trying to find out what accounts have been opened in that person's name. For me, I have access to the Financial Investigation Center from the feds, FinCEN. Call them up, I'm doing this case. I need to know what financial transactions this person has made, and I get a nationwide report on all their accounts, what transactions they've taken. I even get an accounting of their debts to other agencies, businesses, for new cars, old cars, everything. Last time I did one, it was about 6 inches thick, and it is narrow print. And it takes several days reading through that and correlating what they've got with what you're looking for. Frequent changes in financial institutions. We've seen this over the years where they will bounce from banks. You've heard of doctor jumping. This is bank jumping for the very same reason. They're trying to hide their activities, and they think by going from bank to bank, usually outside of the community they live in, they can hide it. That's where the FinCEN report comes in really nice. We also see changes of healthcare providers and healthcare institutions. And that's to cover up, with some cases, the drug use that the perpetrator is using because of their addiction, and they're using their parents, grandparents' drugs, either to sell on the street or using them themselves. Also, for you in-home providers, watch for changes in the victim's attitude and mental status. One of the things that we found out when my step's family grabbed their mother and took her to Louisiana. The day before they flew out, they went to the bank and withdrew a considerable amount of money. Her signature did not look the same, even though the bank people said, yeah, it was your stepmom. One of the things you learn is when people are under stress or duress, their signatures aren't the same. And my stepmother was, we're finding out now, was under duress. And that's how we could tell. That's, even the bank said, it doesn't look right. And of course, I'm getting this the following week as we're trying to play catch up to what has happened. Any questions? I know that was quick, but I didn't want to cover too much of what Mr. Merkel covered. So, any questions?
Like, if somebody comes to you and they have financial